So we're going to look at this tweet from Michael Benson. Supposedly taking some quotes from the podcast run by Eddie Hearn. It's got Mike Tyson on it. And Mike Tyson supposedly says to Eddie Hearn, Tyson Fury is the fans' fighter. The fans are in love with him. He has the momentum now. In England, Anthony Joshua is a big thing. But Fury, he's got the people now. That's the truth. They're following him like he's the Messiah. That's supposedly from No Passion, No Point. So I thought I'd make a video and actually look at some of the responses to that. And the first response I've got is by a guy called Thomas Cohen. And he says, that's why Fury fights got cancelled, because the pay-per-view buys would have been too low to account for his contracted purse. Okay, we're going into some detail there. Somebody responds to him by the name of Joe DC and says, yeah bro, so many are not picking up on this or choosing to ignore it. We ain't that easily hoodwinked, bro. Fury ain't no draw without a credible opponent. They got to accept. He writes accept. A lot of people make that of late. A lot of people have been making that error. They write accept as accept. It doesn't matter. This here and today. Somebody responds to that saying AJ is more of a draw, no doubt about it. However, Fury has more of an appreciation from hardcore fans. He's also quite a polarizing figure, to be honest with you. He never seems to be able to get away from controversy, and even if there doesn't need to be controversy, the way they handle these things tends to let these problems sort of fester. Or is the word metastasize, or I've forgotten how to say it. I think it's metastasize or metastasize, and become something that it doesn't necessarily. It becomes putrid. And I think that's what you've got with the Glovegate thing. I don't believe for a minute that he benefited from it, but the fact that he's so reticent, and doesn't say anything about the glove. Give a simple explanation or whatever. Just some sort of explanation, and take it or lump it sort of explanation. But to ignore it completely allows these conspiracy theories who are looking for any reason to defend their Lord and Savior, that mediocre fighter, that pretender by the name of Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, any excuse to feel that he was somehow cheated because you can't explain why a glove flopped. I was listening to somebody today, and he said how until he gets an explanation why the glove flopped as if there was nothing in it, nobody can debunk that the glove flopping meant that Tyson Fury got an advantage. But if there's nothing in it, okay, shouldn't that mean that it can't hurt Tyson Fury? I mean, it's like there's nothing in it, but his hand was in the lace area, and that's a problem. But there was something in it that he put in later because they took, I don't know. Anyway, there's so many dimensions to it. It is what it is. Now, that being said, let's read a little bit more. It says the fight most likely got cancelled because Wilder has some legal pull. I don't give a fuck about that. So let's see. That was one feed. Someone else says Fury has indeed made up for a lot of lost ground since he got caught with steroids and ran away from the sport. Beating Vladimir has helped, but he's still not a draw like AJ. Should they ever fight? Listen. Here's the thing. The truth is, we can't necessarily. I think Mike Tyson's a bit like Pele. Mike Tyson is a bit like Pele. Pele, great international, one of the greatest footballers that ever lived. Okay, used to make predictions about football, and all of them were wrong. His outlook his assessment, his analysis was absolutely and total shite. And that's what you get. I think that's what you get a lot of the time with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson tends to say these off the cuff things, and because there's a lot of other stuff that he says that you can relate to, particularly in terms of his passion for the history of boxing, you tend to want to sort of transfer that over to the way he sees boxing today and think that he knows like what he's talking about. And a lot of the times he's just full of shit, and he's ruled by emotion. And I think that's more or less why he can't necessarily sort of analyze and assess the pros and cons of somebody like Floyd Mayweather accurately, because he's passionately dispassionate about the legacy of somebody like Floyd Mayweather. And based upon that, using his heart rather than his head is what led to him being almost passionate in being adamant that Manny Pacquiao was most likely going to beat Floyd Mayweather, and he got some pushback for it and he didn't like it. But that is a classic example of how bad Mike Tyson's analysis of the current state of boxing really is. He actually moved away from it at one time and started watching UFC. So it is what it is. But anyway, is there anything else I could add to this video? Because so that was Mike Tyson speaking. I don't really like to talk that much about Mike Tyson, to keep it real with you. He's gonna go into his pay-per-view against Roy Jones. I'll watch it when it's here. Apparently it's gonna sell a bit. There was some notifications saying that. So this is another part of it, I take it. He says here, Mike Tyson to Eddie Hearn: Josh is a masterful puncher, but you can see his punches coming. He telegraphs his punches. That's just a recipe for disaster. If you're fighting Fury, telegraphing your punches for a guy who's 6'7", come on. Alright, I can't really argue with that, because I don't particularly, honestly though, I don't think he's correct. Let me say why. Let me tell you why I don't believe he's correct. I don't believe he's correct because of what he did, because of the strategy he used against Povetkin. I think that he used a strategy that sort of convinces you that you might be aware that that's a punch he might use, and then he might switch it up on you. And that is something that you could probably say about Vladimir Klitschko too. Vladimir Klitschko was jab, jab, jab. Then you know what punch he was going to use, but he might switch it up and then hit you with a hook, like what he did with Pulev. So it's all in the mind, really. And I think that's what was very interesting about Joshua's fight with Povetkin. So that's another thing. That's another situation whereby I can say, like, okay, you know what, Mike Tyson is oversimplifying the kind of fighting that Anthony Joshua does. And that's not to say I'm a fan of Anthony Joshua. I like the event. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like the event, and it's exciting because he might lose as well. And there's a lot of people who want him to lose. You know what I mean? I don't want him to lose whenever he's fighting, to keep it real with you, because I prefer him to all the other guys. But I'm not a fan of his. But that's because it is what it is. And there are so many people. Yeah, it's like when it's Anthony Joshua nowadays, because he's so popular, he becomes an underdog to the hardcore boxing fan who want to see him fail. So I think that sort of motivates me to want to back him at that moment during those fights. But apart from that, I just think he sucks. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. You know what I mean? Gets on my nerves. What else we got? Oh, is this something with Andrew Ruiz? Andrew Ruiz says Robles admits they lost control of Andrew Ruiz after big win, blames new friends. What is it, 12? Fuck out of here with that bullshit. And Robles needs to get over it, man. You know what I'm saying? He left you guys because he hit the money and he wanted to go off with the big time boys from Mexico. He wants to be a big time dude from Mexico with, like, you know, the Reynosos and Canelo. That's what he did. What we got here? We got something with Joe Joyce. Alright. Okay. Michael Benson again. Oscar de la Hoya says Ryan Garcia is gonna have the biggest career ever, more than any fighter we promoted in the past. He has this it factor. Ryan Garcia is the equivalent of Brad Pitt and Elvis. And Oscar de la Hoya, all wrapped into one. All these beautiful white boys. That says it all, really. That definitely is going to ensure that he doesn't have crossover appeal. And in boxing, if you don't have crossover appeal, I'm afraid you're doomed. You know what I mean? If you start comparing it to Brad Pitt and Elvis and Oscar de la Hoya, we'll see about that. Somebody's written something about the LDBC. This isn't me, by the way. Okay, so let's put it on. If you can see it. Let me give you, I don't know whether you can see it. What does it say there? We can read it together. Breaking news, the LDBC have confirmed trainer and manager of Deontay Wilder, Deez, was giving his fighter heroin. You heard it. Heroin. Okay, wait. Let's give his fighter heroin. This is the smoking gun. Evidence we've been waiting for. Who put that shit up? I don't even know. I'm sorry. All right. Oh dear. I gotta keep that so somebody can see it. Listen, I haven't even bothered with that video. Supposedly some white packet fell. Oh, okay. So I see that white thing. What is it? It's not. You know what though? I wouldn't be surprised if you find out later that actually Deontay Wilder snuffed some coke before he went out. He did some bad coke before he went out because a lot of his fans said he doesn't look the same. So what if he actually did some coke before he actually went out there? That was a cocaine. That was a cocaine. Maybe they've been doing coke. Maybe Deontay Wilder's been doing coke, but this time they got a bad batch and it kind of affected him badly. You know what I'm saying? Because he does fight like he's on coke, doesn't he? Deontay Wilder fights like he's on coke, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if he and Jay Diaz and Mark Brilliant all knew that was on coke. You know what I'm saying? And that coke was fueling him, like, yeah. Even when he was getting beaten up. You know? But I think he got a bad batch this time. I suspect that's coke, you know. Not heroin. Heroin is brown, isn't it? And that look white. But anyway, it is what it is. Let me switch this one off, man. Anything else? A whole bunch of politics on my feed today, man. Yeah, Triple G versus Shemeta. Mike Coppinger. What's Mike Coppinger saying? Canelo fights Callum Smith one day later. Collision cause Canelo Triple G3 in May. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that, man. Triple G's old news. Let him ride in, or let him ride off into the sunset. Who wants to watch? Listen, that fight's no longer hot. It's not hot anymore. It is what it is, man. It's no longer hot. It's done. Nobody cares. I certainly don't care. Well, some people might care, I suppose, but I don't. Alright then, you guys. See you guys later, y'all.